Well, what is going on, my guys and my girls that are watching now? Because I believe the female population in BMXers is increasing at the moment, so I don't want to leave you guys out. But it is your boy, mic check one, mic check two, B-Rad 2 mics, on a lovely Friday here in Northeastern PA. And hopefully I can get this Friday bike check out to you guys and get you your daily dose of BMX before this lovely weekend starts. And you guys hopefully get out and ride a little bit, and you just might get some inspiration from this build. Now, I've done the Colt Walsh build once before. I used the rose gold Churchill parts on it, and I broke it down after it didn't sell, and just had this itch to build something with this blue wheel that I've had for a long time. It just sounds so good. I couldn't seem to find the match on the rim. So I know the stolen, I ended up finding, well, actually, let me rephrase. A close friend of mine and mechanic came across this blue stolen Rampage wheel. Not the best wheel in the world, but it's a front, so it doesn't have to be that strong. And gifted it to me, which was quite nice. And it was the closest blue I could find to match the clear blue Federal stance rim here in the US. They do have a couple somewhere in the UK and stuff, but I didn't want to go through all that for a bike I was going to sell, so I stuck with a stolen one, and I think it looks pretty good. I think it matches the animal headset pretty well. And as for these gold 24mm demolition bolts, they can stay or they can go. I wasn't really sure if the look matched very well, but I did want to point those out because we have these here in the shop now for 24mm spindles, and they're aluminum demolition bolts. They come in gold, purple, and I also have them in black if you want to lighten up your crank set and add a little style to it or a touch of color. So yeah, let's get on into this bike build right now. This is currently available at the RPO BMX shop if you're just interested in the frame. This is also available. This frame was ordered. Unfortunately, the customer wasn't able to purchase it, so I've been doing builds with it. I haven't ridden it yet, which is why we have the plastic on the tires. But that is so that when it does, if someone does decide to buy like the Wheelset or something, you guys got some fresh white Sunday Current V2 tires, which are a pretty good tire compared to, I believe, the Sunday Current V1, which had some pretty bad reviews. I know they did a pretty good upgrade on these Sundays, and a little heavier than the Demolition tires. I have ridden these, but they ride very similar to the Demolition Momentums and also blow up to a similar size, possibly a little fatter. But then again, this is a really large rim here in the back. It's a 40mm wide Federal stance rim. And the Rampage rim looks to be about 36mm wide. It's a pinned rim, pinned seam, which means the rim was simply pinned together. And if you're ever looking to see if a rim is pinned or welded, you want to go directly across from the valve, and you'll see here, you can just see where the rim separates. But on a welded rim, that area is usually, you can kind of see it, but it looks like it's been sealed with a weld and usually sanded over. And then there's a third style of welded rim where it is welded all the way through and it is just one congruent circle, which would be something more like a G-Sport rim. And that is why rims can go from costing $45 to $65 to $120, because each of these rims do have different machining techniques to them to make them stronger, to make them lighter, to make them stronger and lighter, etc., depending on the style of riding you're using. And carbon fiber is another one that's getting a little popular right now. However, it's pretty expensive, and it's probably just not that efficient if you're a rider, because if you end up spending a ton of money on carbon fiber rims and they break, there's no fixing them. Carbon fibers are just a bunch of woven threads, fibers, and what'll happen, they just kind of crunch together. So you're not going to be able to fix the weaving, shall we say, on a carbon fiber rim. Once you crunch it, it's pretty much done. However, they are supposedly a bit stronger, so don't know much about that, but we'll get into it on another video someday maybe we'll get some carbon fiber stuff in here. I think I have some carbon fiber headset spacers maybe. That's about it. But right now, let's just go over this build. We have a Colt Walsh frame. This is a 20.75 top tube and 9-inch standover. I believe it's 9-inch. I know the back end is going to be around 14 inches, and the head tube is going to be probably around 74.5. The reason I'm kind of guessing at the moment is because I know I went over all these specs in the last bike check, and the basic premise of the Walsh frame. Corey Walsh rides a lot of transition. He rides pools. He rides brakeless also, but he needs a stable frame. He needs something a little bit longer, definitely a longer back end, a little bit lower front end, more stability, lower bottom bracket, but still has enough responsiveness to carve some sharp corners in pools and the such. So let's get into the parts here. Try to stick with as many Cult parts as possible, but I always like to throw on a few extras that we carry here at RPO BMX. So start with the grips. We have the Cult Ricani grips. These are also known as like the Cult Team grips. Right now, I just have a set of the plastic animal sewer cap bar ends on, and that's just so in the meantime, the bar ends don't get nicked up. But if you were to purchase a custom complete, I would have fresh bar ends for you. But I do like to let people test ride these bikes. And I also offer like a layaway. So if you want to buy it, 40% down I'll take, and then can work out some sort of a payment plan, because yeah, man, economy's rough. It's getting better. Hasn't, gotten great yet, but we're still recovering, and marketplace is like a madhouse. So I don't, I'm not really sure where BMX is at right now, but hopefully things start improving soon. All right, what else? We have I did not change the bars. These are the White House Cutthroat bars. White House, I believe I've explained, is a newer company. It's an American BMX company in Montana, and they make some nice frames. I believe they have a frame, the brick frame, which is a street frame. They also have another one, the Western, I believe, and that's some more of their transition trail style frame. But there's some nice parts. I know they're a smaller company, but if you ever want to check them out, yeah, shout out to White House. These bars are sick. They're called the Cutthroat bars, named after the cutthroat trout, and they are a 9.2 rise, 29-inch width with 12-degree back sweep, which is a little extra back sweep for transition riding. And I'm not sure the up sweep, but it's pretty nice. It's not too much. It's just it's a pretty stable bar, built mainly not to be as snappy and responsive as a street style bar. So there is some small differences when it comes to handlebars when you're looking for it. But what you really want to look for is what's more comfortable for you. In my situation, where I had a wrist fusion, I definitely like the higher up sweep for some reason. I like a 3-degree up sweep. It feels really good. Not really good. Let's say it doesn't cause as much pain on my wrist as something like, let's say I saw Ethan Corrier do a bike check, and his bars have 10-degree back sweep, and like I'm going to say like a 1-degree up sweep, which means they're pretty straight across and they're very snappy for bar spins. When these bars are kind of pulled back a little bit, they're a little, you don't have as much pop with them. Don't even know how to explain this, so I'm just going to stop right now and move on. Another reason that helps with the wrist is where my brake is located, because I cannot bend much further than that. My brakes, I usually have to have them lower versus being able to have them here, because I don't have that bend in my wrist. But here we just have your basic Odyssey mono lever with some nice blue anodizing right there on it, and works great. Brakes are set up perfectly. The brake cable is nothing I know of, and I can't. Oh, we got a Jaguar brake cable here, so kind of like that name, Jaguar. I believe it's just basic linear cable connected to an Odyssey set of Evo 2.5 brakes. and an Odyssey cable hanger. I like the fact that the brakes on this bike are on the chain stays. They're not up top on the seat stays. It's not ideal for doing grinding. However, as I said, Corey doesn't ride pegs, so I believe he does run. Corey doesn't ride brakes, so I believe he does run pegs. I'm not sure. Gonna have to watch a little more of his riding. Never watched too much Corey Walsh stuff, but I know the dude's crazy. I love the Fast and Loose crew, and bike is sick AF. So moving forward, we have Corey's second sponsor, which is Odyssey BMX. I know Corey has his own stem. Odyssey, unfortunately, is no longer one of my distributors. I did have full factory earlier on when the shop had first opened, but I am no longer carrying them. So no Odyssey stuff unless it's pre-owned. And I came across this Odyssey CFL2 front load stem. This has a 53 millimeter reach, which is really nice for a transition style bike. That little extra bit of reach also adds some stability, lowers the handlebars down a little bit, which you don't have to cut down the forks if you want to use the front load. I mean, you can drop it even lower if you want, but I always kind of like that you can run a nice headset cap like this blue animal headset cap here. Got an FSA, a white FSA headset spacer, and looks really nice. When you have it set up like this with a top load stem and this tall headset cap and then another spacer, just starts to look a little bit goofy when you have the shorter head tube like this, which is I'm gonna say this one I believe is 4.5 inches, and it looks great with the tall headset cap and the front load stem. Personally, I wouldn't like it with the top load stem at all. I'd probably want to cut the forks. Speaking of the forks, these are the Cult 32 millimeter offset. I don't believe these are the Sect forks, or these are the Sect V2 forks. They're the ones with the welded dropouts here. They have a very classic look. I like them a lot. They're a lightweight fork. They're a very strong fork. I've ridden their Sect fork, and this fork I tried. It feels very similar to what I'm going to say SNM Pitchfork, even though I probably shouldn't be comparing the two, but a little bit lighter weight and a little bit sleeker lines, I would say. A little bit thinner tapering here on the tubing. Okay. I told you guys here we have the Animal Highlininer headset, the Never Fade Cult Forks cap, and here's something that you guys might be interested in. So when you buy like an Odyssey stem or a Kink stem, they have a recess in them. And if you were to buy the, let's just say the E-Class Storm forks, or the We the People, a We the People set of forks, you'll notice that the top cap on the forks does not fit in the recess of the Odyssey stem or the Kink stem, nor does the Kink top cap fit well with an E-Claw or with a people stem, because they have a really wide recess. So in this case, to prevent this top cap from, I want to say, wedging in between here with this recess, I take a small headset spacer, and I believe I used the carbon fiber one in this case. It actually was a smaller headset spacer for mountain bikes. I got the wrong size. I got the 6 millimeters, and they fit perfectly in there and cause no crunching of any of the top cap or anything. So yeah, if you guys are struggling with like a tiny recess, don't force your top cap in there. You will ruin it. If the top cap doesn't fit naturally in there, look for a spacer that possibly is around 24 millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters wide, and try to get it on there, and you should be able to tighten this all the way down before you tighten the sides, and it should spin quite smoothly. If anyone doesn't understand exactly what I just said, feel free to ask me in the comments and I'll explain it to you, or I'll kind of explain what I did here. I think I've showed it with a couple of the versus me parts or components that I've used. So we're going to move, we're going to head out, we're just going to get the front end out of the way. We got a stolen Rampage wheel here. It comes as a complete wheel. It's a lower, I'm going to say it's not a lower quality. It's just lower. It's a beginner style wheel with a pinned rim, less expensive, very affordable. And it's on the front here, so I don't think it's going to break. And it's also, I just tightened and trued it, so it's in very good condition. Threw on some aluminum alloy caps, Superstar, an old school Superstar hub guard that I found on eBay. Superstar was one of my favorite companies back in the day. They were only around for a little bit, but I liked them. And this is a Shadow aluminum axle washer. And then the bolts that Stolen had were kind of tiny, chintzy, if you would. So I threw on some regular size 3/8 bolts, which are very tough to get. So any companies out there, if you make some nice 3/8 bolts, I have a feeling that would be a popular seller for anybody who's trying to rebuild like an older style bike, because today most of the front wheels have female style axles instead of male axles like this one. And a nice little cinema white, a white cinema valve cap, the Sunday Current V2 tires, 20 by 2.4 inch width. On this side, I don't have a, what's it called? I don't have a hub guard. I was looking for one to match this. So in the meantime, it's fine. Probably don't even need them, but they're just there for looks. It's an alloy. Now, over here, what do we have? This seat was something I found on eBay. I believe I was under the influence of something at the time and ended up spending way too much on what I thought was a super cool seat by Snafu. It's kind of like this Sunrise seat. And when I was putting this together, I figured, you know what, throw it on here. And I think it looks pretty cool. And in the meantime, I learned a little bit about Snafu, which was created in 1998 by Magoo, who's Harold McGruther. If you ever watch any of Chris Muller's interviews on that channel with Dennis Anderson and Ryan Fudger, our BMX, you'll see he was recently on there with Chris Muller. It's a little goofy, but he sold the company a few years later. 1998, I was like a junior in high school, so I wasn't riding. I had gotten my license. I was just in that phase of my life doing a different sport. So coming back to BMX and seeing Snafu was super cool. Snafu is the company that came out and like originated the jet fuel oil slick colorway. Sorry. So whenever you see like jet fuel, for example, just laced up this Stranger jet fuel or oil slick ballast front hub to one of the Demolition Zero chromoly rims. Threw on some alloy cinema VX hub guards if anyone is interested in a wheel. This one was just recently laced by myself and is in great condition, all new parts. Someone once had said that this was the Trippy Dip colorway, and just to be clear, and Stranger is very unclear about this, but the oil slick colorway and the Trippy Dip colorway are two completely different colorways. The Trippy Dip doesn't have this shine to it. The Trippy Dip is almost like it's several different colors, just kind of, I want to say powder coated on to make it appear almost, it's not a tie-dye, but it kind of looks a little bit like a tie-dye. This oil slick colorway has a really nice shine to it, and when you're in the sun, man, it really glistens nicely. Odyssey has some rims out and hubs right now, 40th anniversary, that are jet fuel, and they look pretty sweet. So yeah, Snafu came up with that jet fuel. I guess you would call it like a proprietary, creation that they have. And they're doing well. That's with mountain bikes, all kind of stuff. But yeah, Magoo sold the company, and it's now owned by another person who, I don't know, hopefully is growing. But Snafu seems to be more, when it comes to like ramp riders, lightweight designed parts for like the backflip, triple whip style Ryan Williams riders. But that's not so much for me. So I don't tend to see as many Snafu parts, or nor am I really interested in them. So I guess when I saw this, it was kind of cool to me. But yeah, I really like the seat, lightweight, it's railed, goes well with the Cult railed seat. I talked about this seat before. This seat post is like this long. It's huge. It's over three. It's like 320 millimeters, maybe more, but it probably comes down to here. So I cut off about this much, but it still has a good amount of seat post on there, and it's also brand new. The only pre-owned parts on this are the CFL stem, and the difference between the CFL2 and the CFL1 is, or I should say the CFL2 and the CFL3, which is the most current CFL, is the bolt size. The newer CFL3 just has larger bolts in here, so it's not much different. It just has larger bolts, makes it a little bit stronger. And let's keep going. We stopped at the Cult railed seat post. That's the name of it, the railed seat post. I have spoken to you guys about the 24 millimeter Demolition spindle bolts. They don't come in 22 millimeter, unfortunately. And I think that's because Demolition has the 24 millimeter revolt and the 19 millimeter revolt, but they also don't have them in 19 millimeter. They only have the 24 mil. So, yep. Otherwise, I'd probably grab some of those, but 19 millimeter cranks seem to be slowly moving away from BMX, and 22 millimeter just seems to be, I have a feeling 22 and 24 and 19 are still all going to be around for a while, because it just brings more money to BMX for people to have to buy certain parts for certain things. But I guess, it also adds some options. And in this case, it's 24 millimeter. So the bigger the bolt is, the more aluminum, the less weight, the less steel you got to weigh. So if you were to compare the weight of these bolts to the weight of the Primo bolts that came with it, they are quite a bit lighter. These are the 165 millimeter Stevie Churchill Primo cranks. They are a really nice crank. They're a lightweight crank, the super hollow spindle, and one of the greatest riders to ever do it, Stevie Churchill. So hoping, to see this guy get back into BMX. It's a shame Sean McCanny got his hands on him, but Sean, send him in the right direction, man. We don't need to be chopping bikes in half and stuff, dude. Like, we need Stevie Churchill back. Send him back. All right. Other than that, Cult DAC pedals. Watching, whenever I put on bike checks, I always see like Dak will pop up and be talking about his bike, and these are some pretty nice pedals. I would say these are more similar to like an animal rat trap. They may even be a little bit better, only because they are concave. They have this little bit of indent, and then they have these 4 pins going across here perfectly. And I'll show you guys at the end of the video when I do some close-ups. You'll see where the pins are located, and you don't not quite get that center pin to slice your shin apart. So shout out to Dak on the 4-pin placement. I am thankful for that. Shins are still effed up, but it doesn't matter. Sprocket. We're running a Demolition Mugatu chromoly sprocket. This sprocket has a lifetime guarantee. It is 28 teeth. It is a spline drive, 24 millimeter spline drive with no insert. Just slides right on there perfectly. You're able to get your chain alignment like as straight, as perfect as you would want it. This sprocket allows for, especially with a frame like this, who has the S-bend so far back. I could probably run, I'm going to say like a 33 tooth on with, I think I might even have no spacers, maybe one small spacer, and then I have the sprocket on, and it's dead in line with this rear wheel and this Shadow Conspiracy Interlock V2 chain is doing a great job. It's just perfectly in line. Half links, you will notice if the chain alignment is off. I like to flip the bike over to check the chain alignment. The half link chain kind of bends a little if this is too far out, if your sprocket's too far away. So it's good to flip the bike, look from the back, look from the front, just to see if this is traveling outwards, if it's traveling inward. It's very rare to travel inwards. That would be like if you didn't use any spacers. However, a lot of times you do not need that second dust cap, that thin dust cap. It's just too wide. It's going to throw your chain alignment too far off. You just need a spacer over top of that bottom bracket bearing. Just a spacer, usually your top hat washer, and then your sprocket. That should be it. The dust cap, if it's thin enough, sometimes it'll work, but I'm going to say 9 out of 10 times I don't use the dust cap. Maybe on profile rims, because profile like does it perfectly, but not on most others, including this one. But this is a great rear hub. This is the United Audio cassette hub, laced to, as I was saying, the Federal stance rim. Has this little design here on it, which is pretty nice. It's kind of like the synthesizer on a speaker. It has a nice nylon hub guard over here. And it also has another hub guard that goes on the drive side. So that would come with the build as well if you were interested. Sounds really nice, kind of souped it up for you. I mean, this thing's loud. If I'm trying to think who plastic's making it slow down a little, but it sounds really good. Andrew Lazaruk, AndrewLazaruk is how he spells it, I believe. He's sponsored by United, and who else is he sponsored by? I know he's sponsored by United, who does the audio cassette hub, and Profile as well, maybe. And I think he was running the audio cassette over the Elite hub. If you check him out on Instagram, Canadian, I want to say, possibly. But man, this thing sounds good ripping around the bowls when Andrew's riding it. So yeah, big shout out to Andrew Lazaruk. He's one of the guys. He rides a United Prime Mover, something we need to get in the US here. I'm a big fan of that frame. But like I got the Root Designs frame. So those are great for trails as well, as this one would be. Let's see, what are we forgetting here? We have some nice micro chain tensioners here. Yeah, I guess that's about all. So aside from this thing, what does this leave? This means that the rose gold set is on sale right now for $275, which comes with the rose gold N4 FL hub with the alloy guards and the rear balance. These are laced to it's a left-hand drive, laced to Cinema 333 rims, a set of new ones. Hardly any rotational weight on those. And if you're, I guess, feeling a little bit spicy and want to get the bike looking nice, got these in 165 and 160 millimeter. The 165s were on the shop build, as were the Wheelset, which is why there's a discount. And there will be a discount if you bundle them, and these will also be discounted. These are 165s and 160s. I know there was a big sale on Primo cranks way back for the 170s and 175s in rose gold. And if you can find it, I will match the sale price. And like I said, I'll always match any price that I can, that you guys can find. And I'm happy to do it. So right now, about to get some more Cult parts in, but the ones we have in stock, we got the Angie Marino seat. We got Cult grips, $10 for the team grips. I have some of the old school, these things were crazy. These are the rear non-drive side Colt hub guards. And I did a few of these in bronze as well. I had them powder coated. So these are like a bronze chrome color, and they work for the rear non-drive side as an alloy guard. This is what the bolts that come with this, in case you don't like the gold and you want something that, I guess the gold kind of sticks out. It doesn't match all that well. And also I was going to go with this for the stem, but as I told you, I'm not a big fan of top loads with this many. But I have one of Chase D's Redemption stems here, pre-owned, with titanium bolts available for, I think that's 55. Hub guards right now 15, and seats 44, probably like 40 bucks. I don't know. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this bike build. Hope you're having a good Friday. Hope I didn't stutter too much for you, but I'm trying here, man. And yeah, let me see how many let me see if I can get some more videos up to you, get you guys some more bike checks, some more part checks. As I said, if you're interested in any of the parts on this, hit me up in the comments. If you like the video, hit me up in the comments, man. I'll try to get back to all of you guys within a week. I'm a little bit of a busy sometimes, but I like to respond to everyone. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. If you like it, if you guys want one, let me know. And let me get these these close-ups for you. Great. These are even more on sale now. I'm just kidding. But I'm not. All right, so what do we have here? Let's take a close look at this mystery $1 million seat. Really wasn't $1 million, guys, but it's pretty cool. Really slim seat. It's rail that has these nice gold posts. The Cult post. Here we have the CFL stem. As you can see, I have that little spacer in there, so I don't have to wedge in the Never Fade top cap. Animal headset, FSA spacer. There's your Superstar hub guard. That thing's pretty cool, huh? 7075 T6 aluminum on that. I love the graphics on this bike as well. I think it would look super dope in black with white stickers as well. Demolition bolts, Primo Churchills, Cinema top caps, Federal stance rim. Oh man, this ought to be fun with one arm. And your audio cassette hub. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Turned out to be a little long. Maybe watch it on double speed because I talk too slow. But other than that, I'm out. Peace. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you on the next one.